Hello, you beautiful human being. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my honest advice on whether or not I think you should become a digital nomad. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is George and I'm a digital nomad living here in Thailand. I moved from the UK to Bangkok, Thailand back in September of 2022. I live a beautiful life. I am so blessed. I live in a mental, crazy city in a beautiful country. It is hot all the time. I live in a beautiful building with a gym and a pool. Every 6 weeks I go on a beautiful holiday to a paradisiacal beach destination, and I'm truly blessed, but it wasn't always this way. You see, just a few short years ago I was in £25,000 worth of debt. I had a 248 credit score. I was paying back £1 a month on a debt repayment scheme. I was sleeping in my car, I was sleeping on other people's couches, I had minimum wage, and my life truly sucked. I was depressed, it was horrible, and becoming a digital nomad has radically changed my life. But over the last several years of earning money online and traveling the world, I have learned a few lessons, and they are what I want to share with you in this video today. Now, before we dive into that, I just want to share that most people that actually watch my videos, you're not subscribed to the channel. So if this is the kind of thing you dig, you enjoy my videos and you want to keep up to date with some of the content I'm putting out there, and you yourself have aspirations to travel the world and make money online and maybe come here and live here in Southeast Asia, please do think about hitting subscribe so we can keep in touch. But if not, that's cool, but it'd be cool if you did too.
All my diamonds are baguettes. Stay with the gold on my neck. Pulling the partners, be coming with caution, cause you better watch where you step. All my diamonds are baguettes.
Alright. So after 7 years working online, and after several years traveling the world and working as a digital nomad, here is my honest advice. So firstly, and you're not going to like to hear this, but expect to be disappointed. Here's the thing: when we're sitting at home and we're thinking about becoming a digital nomad, right? And we're thinking, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go there, I'm going to go Thailand, I'm going to go Vietnam, I'm going to go Philippines, it's going to be beautiful. I take my laptop, I'm going to work in these beautiful places, and fantasizing about what it's going to be like. It's never going to be what it looks like in your mind, right? Because you have this internal imagery that you are projecting into the future, and you're creating an ideal about what you think it will be like, and it will never be like this. It will never be like this. It will be disappointing in so many ways you couldn't imagine. One example that I often go to is when you go on a boat trip here in Thailand, right? Yes, you can go and you can pay one of the fishermen, or you can go hire a private boat, which we've done several times, and it's awesome. But if you're going and you're booking like these boat trips and you're going in like peak time, you're getting on a speedboat and there's like 20-30 other people on there, and it's like, okay, and then you go to these beaches and you're there for like half hour and everyone just takes their pictures, and you've got hundreds of tourists on there, and it's like, right, okay, you know, I had in my mind that I was going to be on this beautiful quiet beach, and it was going to be like the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio, and it's just not like that. You're just surrounded by loads of tourists like just chewing on pineapple, and everyone's got their life jackets on, and everything's just busy, and everyone's trying to get pics for the gram, and that's what it's like. And you know, everywhere you go, particularly in Thailand, for example, if you're going to much of the beautiful tourist spaces, everywhere it's just carnage. Tourists everywhere, and in your mind you've probably not got that as an expectation or an ideal, and that is the reality of how it is. And something I find really useful is that happiness is nowhere other than where we are right now, right? And we desire to go and we want to be a digital nomad, we want to be in these beautiful places, and then when I get there I'm going to be happy. But happiness is nowhere other than when you are right now. So projecting your happiness into some theoretical point in the future, and you're only going to be happy if it looks like this idea you've got in your mind, expect to be disappointed. But paradoxically, expect to be wildly pleasantly delighted as well. In the same way that it's never going to be like what you had in your mind in terms of the good things, you're not even going to have conceived the other potential ways that it's going to be good. And you're going to get these surprises, these things you never expected, which are awesome, and you hadn't even conceived that they would be a possibility. So yes, you're going to be horrifically disappointed at many times of things that you wanted to do, or you built up in your mind, or you put these experiences on a pedestal, but at the same time you're going to be wildly pleasantly surprised by things you didn't even know would or could even happen. And just by simply remaining open to the potential options of experience, then you can truly experience it for the gift that it is. Now, some of the great things is these things just pop up and they're like little highlights of life. And I like to share some of these in my newsletter. So every Tuesday I send a newsletter called Trippy Tuesdays, where I share some things I'm getting up to here in Thailand and Southeast Asia and when I'm traveling around. But also I share specific actionable things that you can do to earn money online so you can become a digital nomad. So if you want to keep up to speed with some of the things I'm doing, and like I said, these little gifts of life that pop up, as well as maybe just some information that will help you on your journey, why don't you scan the QR code on the screen right now if you're watching this on TV, or if you are on mobile, click the link in the pinned comment or description, enter your details, and I will slide into your email every now and then with some things that I think might just change your life. Now, in terms of advice, again, something I've really come to see and that I think that will really help you if you take this in and you accept this, is that life is just a series of trade-offs. Because when we want to travel and we want to become a digital nomad, we want to work online and we want to go different places, cool, but it's not all win. It's not a zero-sum game. We're not just gaining experiences without the loss of anything. And one example is your friends. You're going to go to new places and you're going to make some awesome new friends, but you're also not going to see the friends that you've got at home. It's a trade-off. You're trading the time with your old friends to spend time with new friends. And again, you are trading, for example, seeing family that you're not going to have when you're traveling around, to seeing sights and seeing going to beautiful beaches and jungles and mountains and just, doing these awesome adventures. But you are trading those experiences for the time that you have with your family. And I think it can be ignorant and delusional to simply think that becoming a digital nomad and traveling around the world is all gain. It's not, it's simply trade-offs. And if you can view life through these series of trade-offs and you get extremely clear on, okay, here's the ways that I believe my life is going to be improved, but here are the ways that I'm also think my life is going to be worse, then at least you come into the experience knowing, okay, these are the ways that I think my life's going to be worse. And then you can act to mitigate on that. And for example, one of the things that I do is I had a look and said, right, I want to be in Thailand for 6 to 9 months a year. And I'm going to go back every couple of months to see my family. Now, I looked at how much time I would spend with my friends and family over the course of a year, and I looked at the average time, and all I do is when I go back to England for 2 months a year, I condense the number of times I would see my friends and family just so it's more dense, right? I'm seeing them the same amount of time over the course of a year, but it's pigeonholed into a 2-month window. And what this allows me to do is this allows me to logically justify leaving the UK and traveling around Southeast Asia or living in Thailand, okay? But if I didn't accept that, if I didn't look at this as a series of trade-offs and I was ignorant to the fact that I was going to be losing time with friends and family, I would never have been able to mitigate those downsides. Now, another thing that I think is wildly useful to get very clear on your actual life situation. Now, you want to become a digital nomad, you want to earn money online, you want to travel around the world. Okay, cool. But how much savings do you have in the bank? What is your runway, right? What is your runway? How much financial security do you have projected over the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year? And how much savings do you got? How much runway do you have that if anything goes wrong, that it's not going to pull you away from your journey? Now, maybe you are not a digital nomad yet and you want to be one. Okay, do you have the skills to earn money online? If not, how can you accumulate those skills? Do you have a remote job? If not, can you get a remote job? Becoming a digital nomad is a byproduct of our life situation, and it is ultimately intertwined and is part of our life situation. For me, I find it wildly useful to discern between, do you want to have an online job versus do you want to have an online business? If the only freedom that you care about is location independence, right? Nothing else but just where you can be, then maybe it's easier to get a remote job. However, if you also want freedom over your time, okay, so it's not just where you are, but when you're there. And in terms of the freedom over your focus, what are you actually focusing on? What are you doing? What are you working on? Now, for me, I feel pulled to, yes, have freedom over my location, but I also want freedom over my time. I want to have control over my day and my weeks and my months. And I also want to have freedom over my moments, the freedom to focus on work that I love and I enjoy. And for me, the only way to do that is to build an online business and not to have an online job. So by looking at your life situation, taking into account how much money you have, the skills that you have, but also your desire. what is your actual desire when it comes to becoming a digital nomad, that is going to help you essentially take the necessary steps to achieve your freedom. Now, this one is a big one, and that is incorporating routine and adventure. Something that I came to see was that we essentially live our lives in a box. And what I mean by this is maybe you're at home in the US or the UK or somewhere else in the West, or maybe even Thailand, right? But you very likely live in a box. You live in a certain area, and then you travel to work on a very specific route, and then you sort of work in that little area, and maybe you go see some friends in a place and you live in this area. So your exposure to the world around you is often confined to a very small area. And when you become a digital nomad, you are trading one box for another box. So let's say, for example, you come to Thailand or somewhere else in the world or Southeast Asia, and you are going to be essentially living in a box. You're going to have the area that you stay, and then you're going to have the coffee shops or remote working spots that you work in, and then you're going to have your gym and your social places. So you're trading one box for another. But the difference is the box better? And how often can you change that box? When you are at home, often this is your box and you're in that box for years. But when you come over here, yes, you're going to be in a box, but maybe you're in one box for 2 to 4 weeks. And then you go to another box in another part of the country for 2 to 4 weeks. And then you go to another box in another country completely for a month or 2 months, something like that. So we are always existing and living within a confined space, a box, should we say. But when you become a digital nomad and you start traveling the world, you're just simply trading one box for another, but then you're also more able to, you're more free to move across and around these different boxes. Now, here's the thing. Routine is the breeding ground for productivity. I know, at least for me, if I'm out of routine, my productivity absolutely plummets. It's shocking, right? It's non-existent. I'm a fiend for routine. I really am. And I am most productive when I have routine. So something that I've done is I found 2 super useful hacks that I want you to take from me and absolutely steal from me and implement these into your lives. One is I have the same routine everywhere that I go. And that way I can live the same day just in different places. I know that I like to get up in the morning, I like to stretch, I like to do Tai Chi, I like to meditate, I like to read, okay? That's how I start my morning, and I do that everywhere. That's my anchor. Then I know that I'm gonna do some work in a cool little coffee shop after that. Maybe it's in Thailand, maybe it's in Bangkok right now, maybe it's in Phuket, Phi Phi, maybe I'm gonna go to Laos, maybe I'm gonna go somewhere else completely. But I know that the second block of the day is my work session in the coffee shop. Then in the early afternoon, I'm going to go and I'm going to weight train or go to the gym, do some form of exercise. That's going to be my afternoon energizer. And I will do that absolutely everywhere that I am. After that, I'm going to do my second work session for the day. I'm going to crack on, do that. Then at the end of the day, I'm going to maybe socialize, get some dinner, and then wind down. By having the same routine every day, it just means that I can follow this same structure of my day, right? I can remove the elements of variability that are in my day, but simply the only variable is where I'm doing it. So the variable, the constant is my routine, but the variable is where I'm doing it. And this allows me to really be productive whilst I am traveling. So the next thing is building variation into this routine. So cool, you have your routine now, right? So let's say you want to do the same day every day, irrespective of where you are. But life can then get a bit mundane. So then it's useful to add variation into your mundane, into your routine. And maybe you can shortlist a couple of different coffee shops, maybe a few different gyms, a few different restaurants you want to check out. And what this means is, whilst the structure of your day is the same and you're in a different location, you can make the most of that location by going to different places within that location, seeing these different coffee shops, these different restaurants, etc. And again, this is just a great way to absolutely maximize your productivity as a digital nomad, but also really getting the most out of the places that you stay. Now, again, a little bit of advice if you're thinking about becoming a digital nomad is to add adventure into the mundane. And as I said previously, we live our lives in a box. And prior to working online and traveling, we may not have that perspective that, okay, I'm got limited exposure to the world around me and I've just simply traded one box for another. But if we sort of accept that and that we're going to be living in a box, then suddenly we find ourselves living in a box. It's just in a different place. But what I like to do is at least once a week, I add adventure into my routine where I change my box or I venture out of that box. So one day a week, I'll have an adventure day where I'll say, okay, you know, these are my usual coffee shops and this is my routine and everything like that. But once a week, I'm going to pick a coffee shop on the other side of the city and I'm going to find a restaurant I've been really wanting to check out. And then that's what I do. And one day a week, I have an adventure day. And this just makes sure that you don't fall into the trap of being a digital nomad that just trades one box for another, but you can actually really add some adventure into the mundane. Now, finally, look, ultimately, if you feel called and pulled to become a digital nomad, you feel deep within inside yourself that there's more to life. You know there's more to life and you just want more freedom in your life. You want to see the world, the beautiful goddamn world that we live in before you die, because you will die. If you feel pulled to do it, I absolutely just encourage you just to do it, but just to make smart decisions along the way. It's not smart to quit our jobs to become a digital nomad when we don't have the money or savings in the bank to pay our bills or the skills to actually make it successful. So don't jump too early when you have no runway or savings in the bank. Why don't you build something on the side before you actually quit your job so that you can delay your time to monetization so that you can actually build a business that truly serves you in the long run? Take your time to accumulate the skills that are really going to help you be successful as a digital nomad and building your own online business. Here is a huge thing for you to take away, and that starting an online business and becoming a digital nomad is 100% risk-free. It is entirely risk-free because you win even if you lose. If your business fails, you have accumulated new skills that make you far more valuable human being in the marketplace. But here's the kicker. Changing your life situation isn't risk-free. If you quit your job, if you spend your savings, then your life can get exceptionally difficult. So whilst starting an online business is risk-free, changing your life situation too early and too drastically isn't risk-free. There are risks tied to that. So basically, that is my honest advice to someone who wants to become a digital nomad. For me, when I read The 4-Hour Workweek 7 years ago, this was a huge catalyst for me becoming a digital nomad. This book completely changed my perspective of work. Before that, I view work as you get a job that you hate, you work 45 hours a week, you save up enough money every month to put a 10 to 20% deposit down on a house, you pay that off over the next 25 years, you have a kid, you scrimp and save, and you die. And that was my vision for life. When I read this book, this completely changed everything for me. That was the catalyst. And now 7 years later, I've gone from sleeping on couches, I was paying £1 off a month on a debt repayment scheme. I had a 248 credit score, I earned minimum wage, and now I live here in Bangkok, Thailand. I travel all around the country, I travel all around the world earning money online. So it would be absolutely wrong of me to say, don't become a digital nomad. Becoming a digital nomad has enriched my life in innumerable ways. And if you feel pulled to do it, I encourage you and I support you and I wish you the absolute very best of luck. But please do, if it feels right to you, take these words on board, learn from my lessons, because I've made many painful lessons that didn't need to be made, and just make smart decisions. So thank you so much for watching, you beautiful human being. If you've made it this far, look, you are one of the 15-20%, something like that actually watch videos all the way through. So applaud yourself, give yourself a pat on the back, because you've invested the time into accumulated new knowledge to change your life. Yeah, I just want to invite you, if you enjoyed this, to watch the next video that's recommended on the screen right now, because yeah, I'm going to touch on some things similar to this, and I hope you would get a ton of value out of it. But I just want to say thank you so much for your valuable time. I appreciate you, and stay real.